Ryan Reynolds thinks that you can't sue for hurt feelings. I'm not sure his wife agrees with that. Hello, my fam. It is Perez, the queen of all media, the original influencer, journalist, podcaster, and your number one source for everything It Ends With Us saga. Earlier today, in a newly filed letter, a lawyer for Litigious Lively accused me of defamation. What? No. You may not know this, but legally, prior to all of this, have been very familiar with the concept of defamation. I respond to that and more in my just filed letter. It hasn't hit the docket yet. You are hearing this for the first time. But first, let me read to you her legal team's letter, which was in response to my very sensible request that the pictures her attorneys submitted of my children be sealed or resubmitted without their pictures. She unnecessarily included those photographs in 2 exhibits, ethically challenged Ezra. I'm sure that she or somebody in her office is looking at this video right now. Hi! Mwah. You're going to make a lot of money this year. Save. Enjoy a nice vacation when you can. You've worked really hard. Look at me being so nice. Dated today, the high school graduate and alleged nose job recipient's lawyer tells her lapdog, Judge Lyman, quote, "Dear Judge Lyman, Miss Lively respectfully submits this letter in response to one of the many letters Mario Armando Lavandeira Jr., a.k.a. P to the E to the R to the E to the Z, H to the I to the L to the T to the O to the N, has filed on the court's docket." I have filed many letters. I'm legally allowed to, enabled to do so, thanks to her. Dragging me into this mess now gives me a legal right to be a fully engaged non-party, even though I would rather not be. And it's very simple to get rid of me. Just withdraw the unethical, unenforceable subpoena request against me. Easy. Our girl Ezra says, while reserving the right to address the substance of Mr. Hilton's various letters at the appropriate time, Miss Lively herein responds to the letter filed at ECF number 594 and dated August 10th, 2025, in which Mr. Hilton seeks immediate action and asks the court to impose the strongest sanctions on undersigned counsel for purportedly filing multiple pictures of his children on the docket. Purportedly? You did. It's not purportedly. This happened, Ezra. She continues, specifically attached as Exhibits C and D to Miss Lively's opposition to Mr. Hilton's motion for a protective order and cross-motion to compel. Mr. Hilton lambasts Miss Lively's filing of Exhibits C and D as cruel and calculated and sanctionable, writing, "Shame on Blake Lively and Ezra Hudson for exposing my vulnerable young family to such risk. Shame on them." Yeah, I stand by that, and I double down. Litigious Lively's letter continues. Exhibits C and D both reflect material that Mr. Hilton has publicly posted and continues to maintain on his own online platforms, including the photographs he seeks to seal. As described below, Miss Lively attached and cited both exhibits for the biographic information Mr. Hilton posted on his own public platforms, which is directly relevant to the substantive issues raised in Miss Lively's filing. And the exhibits reflect the publicly accessible content available on or immediately preceding the filing of this letter. I'm starting to rub off on Ezra. She's using bold and italics. Very Perez of her. Exhibit C is a screenshot of Mr. Hilton's own verified I to the G profile, which boasts, oh no, she wrote boats. Sorry. She wrote boats, but meant to write boasts. Which boasts 921,000 followers and is publicly accessible. But if you really want to support, follow me on the Y to the T. That's my priority. Mr. Hilton's Instagram includes a bookmark titled My Kids that links to videos that he posts of children. Okay, I understand why she worded it that way. Yes, they are pictures and videos that I post how I want of my children. The only other photograph that includes children is a pinned photograph on Mr. Hilton's public IG page with the Backstreet Boys. But neither the post nor Exhibit C indicates the identity of the children in the photograph. Exhibit C includes the following biographical information, which is the reason Miss Lively included Mr. Hilton's I to the G profile as an exhibit to her opposition. Quote, the original influencer, proud dad. Links below for my YT and Patreon. Follow my site. Her letter today continues. Exhibit D is a screenshot of the About page on Mr. Hilton's public website. Then they link to my website. Everybody go check it out. If you read my website every day throughout the day, that is a great way of supporting. I could really use some support right now. EFC number 565-4. Mr. Hilton's publicly accessible website includes a photograph of Mr. Hilton and 3 children, with the opening paragraph stating, Cubano and Miami native, P to the E to the R to the E to the Z, H to the I to the L to the T to the O to the N, is the internet's most notorious gossip columnist. He currently, I've got to update this. He currently resides in Hollywood with his precious mini golden doodle, Teddy Hilton, and his 3 kids. Well, I now reside in Las Vegas, and I have since January of 2023. And Teddy Hilton died last year. Her letter continues, neither the About webpage nor the exhibit indicates the identity of the children pictured. Either Ezra is just this dumb or she's pretending to be this dumb. I'm not sure. Miss Lively, the letter continues, cited and filed exhibits C and D on the public docket with a good faith belief that the materials were not confidential, as reflected by their general availability to anyone who visits Mr. Hilton's public IG, including any of his nearly 1 million followers. Can we get that to over 1 million? Or his own website. That good faith belief is supported by the protective order in this case, which by its express terms protects only non-public and confidential material. In his letter, Mr. Hilton does not acknowledge that Exhibits C and D reflect content that he himself posted on his publicly accessible platforms. I will address that. Nor does he attempt to explain, as a matter of fact or law, why the public filing of his own publicly available content is cruel or calculated or otherwise sanctionable. I will explain in my response. It strains credulity to credit Mr. Hilton's characterizations, given that he is responsible not only for posting the materials publicly in the first place, but also for amplifying Miss Lively's filings to generate his own content on his various platforms, in which he now accuses Miss Lively of using Mr. Hilton's children to hurt him and endanger them. Such accusations are false and defamatory. Oh, no. 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 Such accusations are false and defamatory and inconsistent with the court's order prohibiting using language that is disrespectful of the parties, their counsel, or the court. Miss Lively does not object to and generally takes no position on Mr. Hilton's request to seal Exhibits C and D if the court finds such action consisted with the court's protective order. I didn't just say seal it. I said you could also resubmit it without the pictures of my children. Respectfully submitted, Ezra Hudson. Okay. Let me take some time to craft a response, and I will come right back in just 3, 2, 1. All right. It's like an hour later. I really took my time with this because there were some bombs dropped in that letter. This is real serious stuff. Not only is it pertaining to my children, but an accusation has just been thrown against me of defamation. So, here we go. My response to that is, dated today, esteemed Judge Lyman, Actually, fudge it. This one, I'm taking the esteemed out. Well, no, I'm going to keep it. I'm editing live, okay, people? Sometimes you need to play by their rules. This is one of those times. Esteemed Judge Lyman, I, Mario Armando Lavandeira Jr., known professionally as P to the E to the R to the E to the Z to the H to the I to the L to the T to the O to the N, write as a non-party in Lively versus Wayfarer Studios to applaud Miss Lively for taking, quote, no position on Mr. Hilton's request to seal Exhibits C and D if the court finds such action consisted with the court's protective order. See docket number 613. The exhibits mentioned above are pictures of my young children, and now Miss Lively has punted the onus onto you to decide whether or not to seal these exhibits as per my request at docket number 594. I am sure Your Honor will objectively rule in my favor here, as this court would not want to do anything that could potentially harm my minor children. I have a true worry for them being on this court's public docket. In deciding this, I want to point out to the court that Miss Hudson made no attempt at demonstrating how including pictures of my children in her exhibits is relevant. It is not relevant to any of the claims whatsoever. Doing so is only a continuation of the abusive discovery practices I believe Miss Lively's lawyers have engaged in throughout this litigation. And I'm pretty confident the more than 107 creator journalists Miss Lively's team subpoenaed would echo that assessment. I continue saying, I read the logic Miss Hudson cited in why she thought it was appropriate to share pictures of my minor children. She wrote, Miss Lively cited and filed Exhibits C and D on the public docket with a good faith belief that the materials were not confidential as reflected by their general availability to anyone who visits Mr. Hilton's public Instagram, blah, 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 blah. That good faith belief is supported by the protective order in this case. As a pro se movant who is not a lawyer, my understanding of that logic is that Miss Hudson felt emboldened to include pictures of my minor children on the public court docket because she could. Because Your Honor would allow it and has consistently allowed Lively's legal team to share the home addresses and phone numbers of many non-parties to this litigation. The home addresses of people that aren't even in the lawsuit, employees of that company or that company, exposing these people to real danger. Ugh. I continue. These are instances, too many to count, where redacted versions could have been filed for the public docket and the correct and true, sensitive, non-public information submitted to the court under seal. But Miss Lively's legal team wants to play dirty, and so far they have not once been reprimanded for this reprehensible behavior. I respectfully am disgusted both by the tactics of Miss Lively's high-priced lawyers and this court turning a repeated blind eye to that behavior, which I referenced in my letter from August 10th. See docket number 612. In her letter to Your Honor today, Miss Hudson, her lawyer, falsely asserts, quote, in his letter, Mr. Hilton does not acknowledge that Exhibits C and D reflect content that he himself posted on his publicly accessible platforms. In my letter to this court, just referenced, I explicitly stated, quote, Miss Lively and her legal team have taken away my agency. I choose to share my children on social media if and how and when I want. They took away that choice. Miss Hudson would like me to explain why I view her behavior as cruel and calculated. She writes, quote, nor does he attempt to explain as a matter of fact or law why the public filing of his own publicly available content is cruel or calculated or otherwise sanctionable. Let me happily explain. In December of 2016, Miss Lively took her minor children to the Hollywood Walk of Fame induction ceremony for her husband, Ryan Reynolds. Miss Lively attended that event knowing that her children would be photographed by invited photojournalists like the Associated Press and Getty Images. Subsequently, Miss Lively has made the public plea that journalists not share pictures of her children. In my role as a journalist, on my website, and across social media, I have honored Miss Lively's request. Since I just mentioned the Walk of Fame ceremony, I could include pictures of Miss Lively and her minor children at that event as exhibits to this letter. But I will not do such a thing. That would be cruel and calculated and unnecessary. Just as unnecessary as Miss Hudson, on behalf of her client, filing multiple pictures of my young children on this court's public docket. Additionally, Miss Hudson has lied to this court. She wrote, quote, "It strains credulity to credit Mr. Hilton's characterizations, given that he is responsible not only for posting the materials publicly in the first place, but also for amplifying Miss Lively's filings to generate his own content on his various platforms, in which he now accuses Lively of using Mr. Hilton's children to hurt him and endanger them. Such accusations are false and defamatory and inconsistent with the court's order prohibiting using language that is disrespectful of the parties, their counsel, or the court. I categorically denounce the assertion that my opinion about Miss Hudson and Miss Lively's behavior violates this court's order prohibiting language that is disrespectful of the parties, their counsel, or the court. I expressed myself in the aforementioned letter respectfully, and His Honor said on August the 8th, in docket number 581, quote, I love that I'm quoting him to himself, quote, "For avoidance of all doubt, this order does not prevent any party or non-party from vigorously arguing on behalf of their clients or when appearing pro se on behalf of themselves, or from asserting publicly that a decision of this court or any other court was wrongly decided, or that an argument promoted by a party or non-party is incorrect." And for the sake of clarity, I vehemently deny the false claim that my opinions about Miss Hudson and Miss Lively's behavior are defamatory. What I have said is constitutionally protected free speech. Your Honor himself asserted the ability to express that last week. To express that respectfully last week, which I did. I'm going to tweak that just a little bit. What I have said is constitutionally protected free speech. Your Honor himself asserted the ability to express that respectfully last week, which I did respectfully in the letter dated after this court's order on language. Miss Lively is a public figure, and my opinions do not even come close to meeting the legal definition of defamation, neither for her nor for the public actions of her legal team. Miss Hudson also strategically ignored my reasoning for being concerned about my minor children's safety after she unnecessarily exposed them to this court's docket. As I mentioned and gave detailed examples in my letter to Your Honor, several parties and non-parties in this litigation have received death threats. There has been an attempted kidnapping. There was an arson attack. There's been bullying and unwanted harassment. And I want to do everything in my power to shield my children from this. It speaks volumes that Miss Lively generally takes no position on that. Additionally, Miss Hudson also ignored my alternative request to this court. Should sealing not be deemed appropriate, the exhibits mentioned above can be resubmitted to this court's public docket without the pictures of my children, which Lively's counsel now know are my children. Their appearance or disappearance from the exhibits does not materially change the substance of what Miss Lively is arguing. In summation, I wish to express to Your Honor deep gratitude in advance for granting a concerned parent's sensible request and helping to keep his minor children safe. Respectfully submitted, Mario Armando Lavandeira, Jr. Whew. That took a long time to write, but worth it, I think. And I think I did a good job in my response. I don't know. Not bad for a pro se movement, somebody without a lawyer. How do you think I did? By the time you watch this, I already sent it to the court, so I can't make any edits. Sorry. Let's discuss everything in the comments section.